Arthur Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke. How we living this morning, baby?
I'm great, bro. How about you?
Man, I'm amped up, bro. It is Friday. I was just watching Martin the other day, so I'm feeling like Marty Ma this morning, baby. So I can't complain, man. Not at all, baby. Not at all. But it's always good to see you, man. Are we proper this morning, or are we chilling this morning? You feel me?
A little both. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if it's too early to tell one way or another.
I feel like it's that virtual vibe, man. The virtual vibe gets you perked up a little bit, man. I feel like, Deke, bro, you gotta relax, baby. You got to relax.
One more week, bro.
Facts, man. Facts. You excited? You miss me a little bit?
Yeah, dude. I want to get back to the
okay.
live, man. I'm definitely with you on that for sure.
Okay. I was just checking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I miss the company as well. I ain't gonna lie to you. We make it work virtually, but you know it's always better when we get to link up and be together under the same roof. But I can't complain either way, man. And shout out to beautiful Hinesville behind you, man. I feel like you got the best seat in the house. I don't know who your ticket guy is, bro, but your ticket connect is way better than my ticket connect.
Let me see. Where is this?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I see this. This is bleachers, right? It looks like the bleachers are to the side of me. You can't see it on the podcast screen, but there's bleachers. So top left corner of the closed end zone.
Hey, man,
not bad.
It's a big money section over there, man. I'm convinced that's where all the big money guys sit at. And the fact that your season ticket lasts in March, even through you had it all the February and in March, bro. I'm like, yo, that's top notch. That's top notch, man. So salute you, bro. Salute you.
It is funny when we were testing out the Zoom and stuff because I wanted a green screen. Yeah. Because I'm just doing this out of my garage. And I didn't know how to work the green screen settings in Zoom just yet. And then I finally figured it out. And when I figured it out, I'm like, oh, shit, this is amazing. And I just randomly grabbed a picture of Heinz Field in my files, and I've just stuck with it. It works. I think it works. I think it's nice.
I like it, bro. It's a smooth...
You get the nice combo of the field. You get a little bit of the sky.
I was about to say, it's a beautiful sunrise behind you. I always feel like it's in the morning when I'm looking at it now. So I do like that. And when I'm over here sitting back, I'm like the fan that's sitting at home watching the game. You like the fan that's actually at the game. So it works perfect.
When is this, too? There's no way I can really tell when this is. I have a feeling this is during your era, though. It just has those vibes. This has like a 4 o'clock game vibe. Am I wrong?
I appreciate that. Absolutely. I can see 7 out there pointing to the sky, the 8 meter quarter. He's he had a little dance on him.
I think so. I mean, dude, you could kind of tell. You could tell by the wallpaper around the field, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't that it? Wasn't that you guys?
I feel like it is. I can't really tell from this far back, but I'm gonna just roll with it. It feels like it should be. So for the sake of us, we'll just throw that as a 2015, 2016 type season.
Yeah, because they have different wallpapers every so often, and you could kind of tell based off that. You could tell based off that, and you could also tell off the paint in the end zone. Mm-hmm. And the paint in the end zone looks a lot more recent than anything else.
Okay.
That's my guess.
See, that's what I'm talking about there, baby. Shout out to my area in your wallpaper then, all right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, man, we got a ton to talk about today, all right? It was a major suspension that happened earlier this week, man. We got to address that. We got to talk about multiple big-time NFL players being moved the past day in terms of quarterbacks being traded, linebackers, all-pro linebackers, defensive player of the year guys being traded. Also, interior offensive lineman help potentially on the horizon as well. So, yeah, man, we're going to get into all that. And then I'll just let everybody know now. I know we said we were going to do the fan mock drafts today, but I wanted to reassess this, and we're going to hit it on Monday solely because of this. It's a lot of moves that are taking place, and I do feel like that is going to change some of the draft stuff that we would have liked to have done for those mocks that people had sent in a little bit earlier, all right? So we're going to table those until Monday, all right? Just to be clear, we're going to do that on Monday, and Monday is my birthday. So y'all get the special show, all right, ladies and gentlemen? So that's when we're going to do the fan mock drafts. We're going to push those to Monday, just to give you a heads up on that. But with that being said, man, let us know where you are tuning in from so we can give you that big boy shout out and get this show rolling.
I'll start off with Brent Fox. He's a super chat. Says, morning, everyone. Let's start this off right. Deke, the 2-1 full post show.
What was that, Deke?
I don't know. I just petered out. Right
oh,
there.
My God. Yo, you are funny, bro. You are funny. Let's keep it going, though.
Jason Hess, 724, Cannonsburg. Good morning, Moats and Deke.
What it do? What it do?
Jacob Malacio, 919, NC in the house as always.
I like it. I like it. Let's go. Let's go.
We got a spicy name being popped up in the
he
chat
said it's
here.
spicy.
Maybe we can get to that later too. Donald Copeland, 412 Hill District.
Ooh, let's get it, man. Always love for the 412, baby.
Robert Hostler just got off work on Mars from the 717 as always.
You better blast off then, fella. You better blast off. Let's go.
Justin Reynolds back from the 304 Morgantown, listening to Benny's new album, Griselda.
Yeah. Just
is that your boy?
Absolutely, Benny the Butcher. You know, big Buffalo stuff, man. Griselda. Let's go, BSF family, man. Let's get it. Yeah, that's on my.
Have you listened to it
That's
yet?
on my list of music to go through today, though. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. I got that one. I got to listen to today. Who else just dropped the album? I literally was just going through last night, downloading like all these different albums. Like, all right, this is the one I got to bump today. I'm gonna bump this at this part of my meeting. I'm gonna bump this at this part of the day. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been some stuff dropping though. Oh, that's what it was. Lil Durk. Lil Durk also just dropped the album. So it's literally I got Benny. I got to listen to today, and I'm gonna hit Lil Durk. Listen to him later tonight.
How about Kanye's? Donda 2?
Not yet, because you know when he
that
released,
officially dropped. He released it on some software.
Yeah, he
right?
released it. Right now, it's only on the stem players, so I don't have a stem player. So that's why I have not heard Donda 2 just yet. But when it eventually switches over to mass release for everyone else, then I'll tap into it. I just didn't have a desire to get a stem player for just him in that one album. So that was my whole day.
Did they announce if AB's on it?
You sick, bro.
They probably would have, right? We would have
sick,
seen the song
bro.
listing.
Why are you like that? Why you gotta ask if AB gonna be on the album, bro? Come on, man.
They're connected now. I mean, they're business partners.
Yo, I can't stand you.
Would it make sense for AB's career?
I can't stand you right now. Stop it, bro. Stop
Kanye helps elevate AB?
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. I done seen AB linked to Young Thug. I done seen AB linked to Rick Ross. I done seen AB linked to Ye. And he didn't been linked to Game. I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear none of it. I'm done. I don't want to hear none of it.
Oh, Rick Ross came on the Whole Lot of Money song. Yeah, they did the remix. It actually was kind of dope.
Yeah, it is actually kind of dope. And that's why no one really talks about it. So it's all good, man.
All right, I'll say a few more here. Eric Hargrove, 216 Cleveland, in LeBron's voice. He's saying Cleveland in LeBron's voice. NSMC 99, tuning in from the 724. And then I'll go with Zachary Miller. If you want to get any, he says Zach from the 941, Sarasota, Florida.
Man, I like it, man. So look, we'll do this. Let's hop into these supers, and then after that, man, we can roll right into where we're going. All right.
All right, works for me. Left off at Juicebox. Says smash that like button. Jeff Gladney was found not guilty of his charges. Should we take a shot on him for cheap?
Ooh.
I ain't even gonna front. I didn't even know who this dude was. I had to look him up. He's a first-round cornerback there on the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm just. I don't want to throw out that accusation on him. Refresh me on what he was charged with, the way he was beaten. I want to make sure I'm not thinking about this other
felony assault.
But it was on his lady, correct?
Okay, felony assault. Not guilty in domestic violence.
Yeah, it was on his lady. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, he was found not guilty. I was
gonna say.
Yeah, he was found not guilty.
No one supports domestic violence, but legally he's cleared. First round talent.
Yeah. I always just
kind of need cornerback help. I mean,
y'all do. But he
court
was found
documents
not
so a
guilty.
jury unanimously came to the decision.
Okay. Well, yeah.
In Dallas courtroom.
Yeah, if he's unanimously and it's clear that he was clear that he was innocent, then I'm all for it. Because I do believe in due process. I do believe in the judicial system. And we would be a hypocrite to act one way with certain players, but then act totally different with other players, especially when you're talking about guys that are found not guilty, not guys that have settled out of court, guys that are just versus jury of their peers found not guilty. I think that is a little bit more of a statement to me, at least. So yeah, I would not be, as apprehensive to Jeff being on the squad because of that. And you're probably right. I mean, he would be a little bit more cheap compared to some of the other options while you're still getting a first round talent. Now, granted, he still has to prove himself in the league because we really haven't seen that from him. But the fact that he is a first rounder from, I think it was a year, 2 years ago, maybe? To me, that's significant.
Year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You imagine that happens your first year in the league, though, bro? Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's terrible.
It's a heck of a way to start it out, baby. Heck of a way to start it out.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. Yeah. It could be worth a flyer.
Nah, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you. Yeah, Jeff Gladney, though. That's a dope one right there. Shout out to you, Juicebox32. I appreciate that name being brought up. And like you also said, smash that like button. Get ahead of it today. We're going to get ahead of it today. All right. Who we got next up here?
Trooper Thingy, 6173. He says, good morning, guys. Thank God it's Friday. Really happy we didn't force Rodgers, Wilson, or Wentz. Here's hoping the Watson rumors aren't true, too. Whoa. Okay. Free Calvin Ridley.
Okay, well, listen, man, we're going to get into all of that. Trust me. We're going to get into all of that in a few. All right, let's keep rolling. Oh, this is on me then. Look like we got Black and Yellow Texas Steel. He done joined the upper room. Well, Black and Yellow Texas Steel. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. Welcome to the family. Greatly appreciate your support also.
Alex Mathis. What's up, studs? Would it be a stretch to get 2 offensive line free agents, trading up for Malik Willis, and then getting a linebacker in round 2? I know it's a lot, but I want a winning team next year. LOL.
Well, Alex, you hit on some good points. I do think you can and you should get multiple free agent offensive linemen if you are not going to spend on one of these marquee quarterbacks. If you're not spending on them, you need to spend your money building up everything else around whoever's going to be at quarterback, whether that's Mason, Haskins, or a guy that we draft. So I do think that part is important. And in terms of trading up, I do think that is becoming more of a realistic thing for us to have to do just based on some of these moves that have happened with teams that don't need quarterbacks or now teams that do need quarterbacks all of a sudden. I do think that is something that we're going to have to consider if we are still trying to get a Malik Willis or a Kenny Pickett. So yeah, I can definitely feel you.
And it was something we talked about maybe even a month ago about what the Steelers do. And I remember saying multiple times, I'm good with taking a quarterback if we basically address every other position need in free agency and we kill it.
Yeah.
So that's possible. You're right, especially if we don't try to get one of these higher ticket quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, if we really like Malik Willis, which is what all the rumors are saying, we're very connected to him at this point.
Yeah.
I can see us trading up 5 spots, maybe even 10 spots. It might be a little bit cheaper this year than what it was to trade up for Devin Bush. At least that's what I'm hearing on NFL Network and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think what he just said right there in his comment is that much of a stretch.
No, I don't either. I think that's very realistic, actually, man.
Yeah, because maybe linebacker is the one position we don't hit on in free agency, and then we draft a dude in the second round, like the dude out of Penn State, maybe Chad Muma. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't think that's a stretch at all.
Yeah.
I just don't think if we draft Malik Willis, he's going to be starting. That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah, that is the truth.
Because he said, I want a winning team now or winning team next year.
Yeah.
I think Malik Willis would definitely help with that, but the organization might think otherwise with Mason. Let's go, UW. Did either of you listen to AB on Ryan Clark's podcast trying to say he isn't crazy? I told you I got through probably 10 minutes of it. It might have been the first 5 or 10 minutes of it. It actually was going pretty good. I just had some other stuff going on. I would like to finish it.
Yeah, for me, man, I have not had a chance to. That's what I'm planning to do over the weekend because I will have a lot more free time. During my day, I'm on namaste. I'm learning about myself, becoming one with me.
I think you'd enjoy it too, because from how it was going, they were sharing some more behind the scenes stuff that was going on.
Yeah, and RC, man,
you were there.
RC's a phenomenal dude in terms of how he conducts interviews, how he makes guys feel comfortable around him. Those guys are former teammates, so regardless of whatever is said publicly into the media, there's always a natural brotherhood for anybody that you share at the locker room with. It doesn't matter if you fell out on bad terms, you always have that type of connection. It's just, especially in Pittsburgh, that's one of the beauties of being a Steeler. It doesn't matter if you play with a guy for 1 year, for 4 years. When you get back together, when you pick up the phone, when you see that name up there, it's like that's my brother. I got him. So I do want to check that out because of those two guys in their relationship as well.
Yeah, Clark apologized right off the bat.
Yeah, because at times, man, we say stuff where we have to say stuff in the media because it's a part of our job. But we also understand the personal part is like, man, could this be affecting that guy negatively? And if it does, you never want that person to feel like you're intentionally trying to attack them or you're intentionally trying to hurt them. Because like I said, we are close. A lot of us, we still remain in contact. And it's like, man, I don't want you to ever feel like it's some type of, issue between us, but I got to do my job at the same time. If a guy is acting crazy, it's like, all right, let me give you some context. This isn't new. But that is at times why some people can get defensive. And we know when they get defensive, everybody reacts a little differently with that. So that's the only reason I could definitely understand RC, taking that approach with them, man.
AB spoke highly of Big Ben.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part of it yet, but I saw the quote.
You said it's the GOAT, right?
I didn't see that quote. I did see that he was plugging for AB to get in early on.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. So I got to still listen to the rest of it, though, for a little bit more context. But it looked pretty good from the start.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Black and Yellow Texas Steel says, I'd like to renew my subscription every now and then just to get that warm welcome.
Hey, man, we always appreciate you, baby. And it's funny, too. I'll be looking
on the... He lets it expire just to get that feeling back.
Well, no, it is funny, man. I'll look on the analytical stuff with my YouTube, and it'll show, okay, this person just came back. I'm like, yo, I know he's already been in the group. Oh, he just renewed his day. Oh, he just rejoined. I'm like, all right. Do it on live. I give another shout out, too. Act like it's brand new. Don't worry about it.
Just to get that feeling.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to get that old thing back. Come on now.
King Stacks. Do either of you have a dog? LOL. Yeah, I got two. You got two
as well, man. Yeah, Biggie and Faith, my Frenchies, man. We be saddled up, man. We ready for whatever.
Caleb Whisker, just giving some support.
All right. I like it, man. That's it. So, shoot, with that being said, man, let's hop into this first topic because, like I said, we got a lot that we're going to address today. All right, but this first thing we're going to talk about is Calvin Ridley, man. It was funny that my man Chupa Dingy says free Calvin Ridley. I was like, man, you read our mind. This is the first guy we wanted to talk about. We've been meaning to talk about him the past couple of shows. It's just we've been having so much content that we needed to get off to you guys. We haven't had a chance to address it fully. But for those that don't know, man, Calvin Ridley was suspended I believe it was over the weekend. For the full 2022 season for betting on NFL games that he was playing in. It was crazy. You always joke about, all right, is this guy, trying to move the needle, is point shaving, whatever, and you never really think of it to the full extent, but it is kind of crazy to see that he was betting on his own team. Now, from my understanding, it wasn't as if he was trying to play bad because I want to say at some time he wasn't even on the field. He was actually injured, but yeah. But at the same time, when you talk about integrity of the game and you talk about why the game is so big right now is because it's still viewed as pure. And then along with that, think about how much money is made every year with these new gambling deals. We talk about DraftKings. We got, all these other sponsored, not sponsored, but all these other bigger name, sports betting and booking sites that work with the NFL and thrive because of that. But when you throw in the potential that, hey, man, this guy was betting on his own games, it makes you wonder, okay, what would he have done to influence it differently? And we've seen in the past, especially, at the collegiate level, I believe it was Arizona State University back in the early 90s, if I remember correctly. I know they had a scandal, surrounding some of that with, Stephen Headache Smith, if I remember correctly. He was one of those guys that was also betting on his own games, and it was fine while they were winning, but then it got to the point where because he needed to keep it going and he had had a little bit of an issue with it, it became he was losing games intentionally. And that was some of the stuff that you just don't ever want to creep into the NFL level, because as a person that supports the league, as a person that believes in parity, it will make you look at stuff differently. You think about that Chiefs-Bills game and how that happens with 13 seconds at the end of it. If you don't feel like the game is pure, you're looking at that situation saying, man, what's going on here? Is there a fix-it? And that's some of the stuff that I think the NFL wants to get away from, and ultimately why they were so harsh in just giving him that 1-year suspension right away. But that's kind of my perspective on it, man. But what about you, Deke? How you feel about it?
Yeah, and this doesn't take away anything what you were saying because you're 100% accurate. But it was official that he didn't bet on any games that he played in. Correct. He did it November 2021 when he was out. But it could still be the same thing where he has insider information on the Falcons.
Absolutely.
Maybe he knows a little something. I don't know what he's doing from the couch, though, in terms of the actual game going on. I don't think he's texting people. But I guess these are all things that are coming up when you do bet on games and you're in the NFL. These are kind of like the speculations that you go back and forth with.
Yeah, and that was part of the issue going back to, like I said, with Headache Smith out in Arizona State. When that was going on, initially it was just him. But then it got to the point that he communicated with another player on the team, and both of those guys were doing it together. So even when Headache would get hurt and have to sit out some time, the other gentleman was still trying to make sure that the numbers were going to be where it was supposed to be. So even though a guy isn't out there, he could still have that influence on it if others know about the situation. And that is, really that issue right there. But I didn't mean to cut you off, man. You keep going.
Oh, no. 1,500 is what he bet.
Yeah.
A year suspension. And he bet on his own team.
Yeah.
A year seems like a lot. I mean, the suspension should happen for sure.
Okay. So
but I think 8 games. I think you do 8 games, like 6 or 8 games, something like that.
See, I personally feel like you can't, man. I mean, well, first off, tell me why you feel 8.
I don't know if it's the amount. Maybe. Yeah, I guess maybe he's getting made an example of. Because I guess he's getting made an example of because whenever you add up the situation, if you just take it as an individual, 1,500. He was sitting out. He wasn't even playing in the games. Bet on his own team. Like, that doesn't sound bad at all. You get what I'm saying? So, but your point with just making him an example of everything. Like, you don't want this precedent just being taken lightly going forward. Because what's the amount then next? Like, if I say 1,500, that's not that bad. Do we say, 30,000's the next point where, that's a year. Where it's 1,500. Oh man, 1,500 is only 68 games. I think the precedent of just, you shouldn't bet on games at all. The problem would be if someone like bets $10 on something and then he's getting a year. I mean, that would feel extreme, but at the same time, that's what you want. You don't want anyone messing around with these games one way or another.
Yeah,
it just sucks, man. I don't know how to put it. I mean, you seeing dudes with weed getting like 4 games with like 3 games, 2, but then this dude just betting 1,500. It feels very light just from an outsider looking in, but at the same time, you don't want the integrity of the game getting messed up.
You're talking about weed. That is a NFL policy in the sense of, hey, no different than how if you work for the government, they're going to have policies where you can't smoke weed. It doesn't matter if it's legal from a state level or a local level. If it's not legal on a federal level, they don't really care about that. And that is part of the reasons why when people say, well, man, how are you suspending guys this long for weed and this and that? It's like, well, they have a policy in place. Every company can have similar policies if they choose to. The NFL just chooses to enforce it. And because of that, that's why people feel a little bit, different about it. But with Calvin Ridley, what he was doing, this attacks the integrity of the game. So for me, it doesn't matter if it's $10 or $100,000. The fact that you have to question, is this game rigged? Imagine this. Okay, it starts with Calvin Ridley, and you say, 1,500 a full year is bad. What if it was a referee doing that? How would you feel then? If a referee why is he out of the league? Though, right? Because you just said Calvin Ridley for a year seems extreme. And that's my thing.
I think I do think it would be different if he was playing in the games, though. That's why I do think this situation feels different, just because he wasn't even in the games. He's sitting out and just probably. I envision him sitting on his couch and just pulling up FanDuel and betting $1,500 on a little parlay. It just seems if he was playing though, I think if he was playing, it's a whole different story.
Man, I just can't get with it, honestly, man. Like just the thought of, why are you putting that money down like that? Because it makes you feel like you know something. Because that's the other part. We do have access to a ton of information that the regular fans do not have access to. So even me saying, hey, I got a boy that plays for the Titans, and I call my boy up and I say, hey, man, Who playing this week for y'all, bro? Who hurt? Who's not hurt? We know that information before any of y'all do, honestly. We'll know it 2-3 days in advance. Like, nah, he's going to be straight. He's going to play. And it's like, nah, he's not going to play. We know he's banged up. And
okay,
exactly,
that's why the
sitting
exactly
out not at all. And that's before you even get
okay.
that injury. Think about it. Y'all got to wait till Sunday, 3 hours before kickoff to know this. We know the line can move by then. But if I knew on Wednesday, hey, yo, this dude isn't playing, but we're going to keep him on the report as questionable. How many times do we do that in Pittsburgh? And we're like, bro, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Oh, game time decision. If you already knew that he was going to be playing on Thursday, you lock your bet in. Now you got the one up on everybody. You got the best odds. And and on the contrary to that, it's like, man, if you knew this guy's not playing and they're talking him up like he's going to play, so you bet against it or you bet different, that is a little bit of an issue. That's an integrity part. And that's where the NFL just cannot have any tolerance with that. And that's why they take the zero tolerance policy as it pertains to betting on games, especially while you are playing. That's the thing. Like, and when I say as you are playing, meaning you are an active roster NFL player. You just can't toe that line because where does it stop? $1,500 for Calvin. Okay. Like I said, if it's a referee, what if the referee, he's not refereeing? Maybe he's the alternate, but he knows the guys that are on the field. He knows the guys that are going to be making those calls. It doesn't matter if it's $5 on that game. If he got a chance to make a profit off of that, we're going to be looking like, bro, think about the Rams and the Saints. Hey, man, how'd you miss that call right there on the pass interference? What's going on here? Oh, but his man might have had $5 on that thing that he knew it would have ballooned to who knows how much. Those are some of the things where it's like, man, you just can't play that game with that because it's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, agreed 100% because the NFL, and you even said it multiple times whenever I first met you, you're like, yeah, I couldn't bet or do anything
none of it, man.
Gambling related with the NFL while I was playing. And now that I'm out of the league, now I could do fantasy. Now I could do some of this other stuff.
Absolutely.
And
man.
From what I was hearing too, even just sports talk radio over the past couple of days, NFL really hammers that home to you guys too.
Like, that's day one. Like they talk about that before they talk about domestic violence, DUIs, bro. The first thing they say is you got to protect the shield, integrity of the shield. Then after that, they say, hey, man, we know. And this was especially like when fantasy football was first becoming a thing. It was like, listen, man, we can't participate in that. It was like, why? Because this is essentially you have information that the regular people don't have. You can pick up a phone and you know who's available and who's not available before anybody else does. And when you got a chance to profit on that as well, it makes the integrity come into question, and we just can never have that because that's one of the best things about the NFL. That's why we love the parity, because we truly believe that the game is not rigged in any way, shape, or form. But as soon as that crack happens and you can point and say, listen, man, this guy right here was putting money on a situation and he had information on it ahead of time, it just takes away that whole integrity. It takes away that benefit of the doubt. And the NFL, they just do not want to have that ever come into play.
Yeah. I think there was no doubt he should be suspended. There's no doubt for all the reasons you said. And then also just no matter how people want to compare it. And I even brought up the comparison to like weed or something. Cause like I said, it just felt excessive. The year felt excessive for this given circumstance, him being away from the game. But you explained a lot of things that I don't know. Maybe I sit back for a day or two and I'm like, yeah, actually a year makes 100% sense. But everyone trying to compare it to the domestic violence or the assaults or also the weed, it is different, especially too, because this is the NFL organization. Like they dictate those rules, those policies in a way beforehand.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the stuff that was going on with the assaults and like Ray Rice, like NFL was doing that as they want. They didn't have anything like definitively down for that. And like they were never really, I think before like the Ray Rice stuff, they weren't trying to be like the moral leaders in society. Correct. But then all of a sudden, I think with social media, everyone was expecting them to be like, oh man, like this is way too small. Like you need to ramp this up. You know what I mean? Like it started changing as things went. Now I think they're way more strict on it now, and rightfully so. But I think that even shifted. Like the NFL didn't have that necessarily as a policy, but you said from day one, the gambling stuff was always there. And they're private organizations. Like they get to dictate that.
100%, man. 100%. Man, Brett Fox hit it perfectly right here. He simply said he should have hit him with the 1-800-GAMBLER. I say 1-800-GAMBLER. I said you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. Man, y'all gonna have my roommates over here looking at me like I'm crazy.
It's funny too, just the thought of him. I'm sitting out for mental health and all this stuff,
right.
And then goes ahead and gets suspended by the NFL for a year.
It's crazy. Yeah, you can have all the time you need to, man. Zen, become a Zen master. Here we go. All right, we also got Chris G joining us in the upper room as well, man. Chris G, shout out to you, baby, and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh,
I got Let's Go, UW. Did the suspension get shorter? Could have swore it was indefinite with 1 year. He can appeal for reinstatement. Yeah, I do think there's an appeal coming up.
No, there's definitely an appeal coming up, and that's the due process part for the NFL players. That's why we have the NFLPA, regardless of how much we agree with it or disagree with it at times. We do know that the NFLPA is going to fight every single case for us, especially if a player wants to go that route. So if he wants to appeal it, he can. The NFLPA might simply say to him, hey, listen, man, if they're fine with it being 1 year, leave it alone. And that could be the case also, because we know that this is a big, like in that NFL circle, we understand how significant this truly can be to our bottom line in the sense of the money that's associated with the NFL. When you start having to question if the game is rigged or not, people don't want to spend that money, man. And that's the difference.
Yeah. AJ Martinez says, good morning, guys. Great inner peace work, Moats.
Oh,
and Deke, thanks for on the super acknowledgement as time ran out on the last podcast. 7 will be proud.
Hey, no.
Yeah, I came in clutch.
Absolutely, man. I even told Deke when we got off, I was like, bro, what was the age of it? He was like, bro, he dropped them right at the end. I was like, man, I didn't even see it because I usually switch screens. I'm over here doing all the Purdue type stuff behind it. Doing all that, but it was dope, man. Shout out to Deke, man. That was a clutch 7 touchdown drive right there by you, man. I knew you had some Big Ben in you, baby. Absolutely, no man.
Black and Martyr. He says, morning, just chipping in.
Hey, shout out to you always playing your role, baby. We appreciate you, Black and Martyr. That's what he said, man. You the team captain, baby. You know that.
It's just a riddle. It says Moats is right. I don't know. He says in any area we learn the ins and outs to get ahead early. Just become an official musician and find out way before to get ahead. Sorry, I've been gone.
Let's get
Still
it, man.
love
no, we
and
appreciate
loyal.
your support, man. And shout out to you, man. I think you were saying in entertainment in any arena.
Okay.
I think that's what you were saying. Yeah, any area. Yeah, but man, shout out to you officially becoming a musician, man. And do tell more, man. What instrument you on, baby? You know, you on the call with some musicians, anywho. You know.
Yeah. Kyle Brashears. Chupa thingy. Chupa. Definition noun to describe articles and adjectives of a lady. Chances on Winston. Draft heavy D, it being heavy. If we're banking on Mason, use more players or more picks for Watson.
Why are we going Chupa? What's going on with you? What is that about, man? Oh, man.
Yeah, so his suggestion, he's talking Jameis Winston, bring in Watson, or do we just go straight defense and free agency if we're banking on Mason? Those are, I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with
definitely
right
is,
now.
Man. Definitely
that's where we're sitting. And then last one, we got Black and Martyr. It says also, love the Metallica
appreciate you,
shirt.
baby. You know, got to do it for the culture every once in a while, man. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. Let's get to this. Oh, and what I was also going to ask you, too, real quick before we transition. Seeing Calvin Ridley's suspension a year long. If Stephen Ross is found to be guilty of some of the accusations that Brian Flores put on him, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
His is worse.
Okay.
He should be out of the league, probably. They should vote him out.
So kind of like what they did with Donald Sterling then with the Clippers, like that type of situation?
Yeah. Okay. That's no good. Yeah, if we want to talk about this integrity of the league, 1,500 parlay compared to the owner literally telling the coach to tank games and give him $100,000.
Yep.
You got to be out of the league.
And it starts up top, right? If your owner is saying these things, if your owner is doing this, then without a doubt, man, you have to hammer that home to the full degree, because it is a zero tolerance policy, and there is no way in heck that you can suspend Calvin Ridley for a season. And if Stephen Ross is found to be guilty of any, even if it was just one game, it doesn't matter, man. You got to get him up out of there, baby. So I'm with you on that 100% as well, man.
Yeah, he definitely got to.
All right, so let's get to this next topic, man, as we continue to progress through this show, because we got a lot going on. But let's go to the elephant in the room, man. We know this is a big day for Deshaun Watson, both on and off the field, right? Today is the day that he goes and faces a grand jury in Texas, and they'll decide on whether or not to proceed with criminal charges. We know if he is found, that if the grand jury feels like, yeah, man, he needs to be put up for criminal charges, well, then any consideration for him goes completely out the window until that trial is completed, and who knows how long that can take. But if he is, if the grand jury decides that, hey, man, we don't have enough evidence to charge him criminally, man, or they feel like it's a money grab situation, then, dude, I'm excited about that. I think that he becomes a real player in terms of quarterbacks that people are going to be trying to acquire. Now, we've been seeing some of the reports about the Steelers definitely eyeing him or potentially having a deal in place for him, and we've seen guys try to dispute that. I'm not here to validate or discredit either party of that, because we know that's what talking head guys trying to break stories do. If I don't have the story first, then I'm going to hate on it. And if I got the story first, I'm going to tell you it's the God honest truth and all this other stuff. We get that. But what I will say is, if he is available, and if he is, like I said, by the grand jury, they feel like he should not be brought up on criminal charges, I'm down to move however many pieces I need to acquire him. Young, talented quarterback like him, proven franchise quarterback like him, force multiplier, a guy that brings in other free agents. Yeah, I don't shy away from that, because I know what a franchise quarterback means to an organization. But he has to be found. The grand jury, they have to say that, hey, man, we don't have that on him. That's the only way I kind of look at it like that, man. But what about you?
Yeah, I think that's obvious. What's interesting about this is I was thinking more and more about the Rush trade, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, the Broncos housed the Seahawks on this trade.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? If it would be something similar to get Deshaun Watson, I think you'd do it. I don't even know if you'd have to give up as much stuff with some of the off-the-field stuff.
The reason why
on.
You won't have to give up as much is, number one, because he's already made it clear he's not playing for the Texans. He didn't want to play
and
for
them.
He's got
the no trade, too. I mean, Russ has the no trade as well, but still.
But in this sense, if you're the Texans, it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to play the hardball game, and I'm not going to let him leave, because you're still going to have to pay him, and he's not going to play for you. He made that very, very clear. But knowing that he wanted to go to Miami because of Brian Flores, and now obviously Pittsburgh is in the building, yeah, you're going to have to give up multiple. I think you give up 2 to 3 first-round draft picks, honestly. I think that's what it's going to take to get him, and maybe even a player in there. But I'm completely fine with that, because he's that caliber player. Franchise quarterbacks do not grow on trees. You pay for what you get. So when I look at Dwayne Haskins, when I look at Mason Rudolph, and I compare them to a guy like Deshaun Watson, I say, man, neither one of them dudes have even scratched the surface or even sniffed what this dude can do. And you think about the rounds we got them in, the way that we acquired Dwayne Haskins, I'm like, we're paying for what we get in those two guys. Whereas with Deshaun Watson, very similar to Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Those guys are proven franchise quarterbacks. No guesswork. They're force multipliers as well, and they draw free agents. To me, I don't think, you bulk at 3 first-round draft picks, if that's what it takes. Now, if you could talk them down because of, some of the allegations, great. But I don't think that that's really going to matter if he is cleared from a criminal perspective.
I do believe the first report that Pittsburgh is probably number 1 on Deshaun Watson's list for multiple reasons. Yeah. We're a really good organization. We're always going to be in the mix. And then also Brian Flores coming here.
Absolutely.
So if that's the case, the ball is probably in our court.
Mm-hmm.
So the question remains, are the the Steelers are going to be interested in making the move.
And the fact
that's something we don't know right now.
Right.
But there are connections happening.
Yeah. But the fact that Deshaun has the no trade clause, it gives me a little bit more peace of mind when I see other teams interested in him. I know Carolina is a big name that keeps popping up. I don't see him choosing Carolina over Pittsburgh if he could pick. I just don't. I think Pittsburgh is a far better organization. I think that from management, it's way more stability, and he's going to have the support of a guy in Mr. Rooney who doesn't just talk about supporting minorities. He lives it. He doesn't talk about standing by guys through their roughest times. He's lived it. And when we talk about what we've already had to deal with in-house, let's not act like we have, this super great moral compass where we have never drafted, signed, or retained players that have had some off-field stuff, especially as it pertains to women. Like, that's just the nature of it. We know this. So I don't look at it like, oh, we're going to pick and, now all of a sudden, hey, no. He got these type of accusations. We can't touch that. It's like, bro, let's not act like we haven't already dealt with this. And at the same time, I know people say, well, y'all want these distractions? Y'all want to deal with this stuff? This is another distraction? As a player who's been on this team for multiple distractions, as a player, we do not care about what fans or media have to say to make something seem bigger or smaller than what it is. What we view as distractions is what we have to deal with in our day-to-day lives. When you're going home, talking to your significant others, the children, when you're having to, deal with people back home, money situations, that's a day-to-day stressor. That's real. When we hear fans, oh man, y'all got Mike Vick, what's going on? I remember driving into work, we talked about this, protesters every single day. You go to Heinz Field, protesters. It's like, bro, we don't care about that because this man served his time. This man was found, he was found guilty and he served his time. He got his punishment. With 7, same concept. Was like, okay, cool. We know how everything went down. Boom. Everything got settled the way it needed to. All right, fine. We're rolling with that. Even with the LeGarrette Blount situation, when he walked off the field, it's like, bro, all right, we get it. It happens. That's not gonna separate us. The hardest thing that we really had to deal with was with the national anthem situation. And that was solely because there was a personal rift within the locker room. Whereas with these other situations, that never becomes a personal rift because none of us have been personally wrong. And when we can see due process and everything play out the way it's supposed to, it doesn't have that effect on us like that. But fans will talk it up, media will talk it up, and we're like, bro, that distraction is only going to be for you fans and for media over there. As a player in the locker room who's had to live it, the Facebook Live situation, oh, that's a distraction. Only to y'all, not to us, because all of us were doing it. We all felt the same way. It was just, okay, he kept his on a little bit longer than everybody else. We're not, honestly, that's how we looked at it. We were laughing like, why are y'all blowing this out of proportion? It's not even that big of a deal. But once again, media and fans put way more on that than guys in that locker room because we look at him like that's my brother. It's that simple. Deke, you got a brother. If I'm over here talking bad about your brother, is that going to distract you or are you going to be like, I know my brother. I don't care what you got to say. This is my brother. It's that simple. And that's kind of the concept when you're in that locker room, especially in Pittsburgh, man. It's going to feel like that. And when you have an owner like Mr. Rooney who has, like I said, walked this line and has supported his players through any type of allegation, through any type of turmoil, it makes you feel confident when you walk in that building. It makes you feel a certain level of trust. And for Deshaun, he has not felt that in Houston. And I think that is also going to be a bigger draw for him coming to Pittsburgh in addition to Brian Flores and Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. I saw a comment on one of my video. I think I forget what it was. This might have been a couple weeks ago. The thing, because you're talking about the social media stuff. Yeah. We would be getting probably memed out of the league right now, though, by the social media people. Just the memes would be coming in hot. Dude. I can only imagine, but no, you're 100% right. Like you guys don't care about that.
Hey, from a meme perspective, our quarterback lineup, we rough. Okay, they be nice, they all nice, but they're rough. I'm just throwing it out there. It is what it is. But like I said, that's fans' perspective, that's media perspective. As a guy that's been in the locker room, we've heard the same stuff, y'all. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, all right, cool, we get what you're saying. But we already saw how everything played out. So I don't care about a fan's moral compass. I don't care about a media member's moral compass versus this actual guy going through whatever he has to go through and being found innocent or settling. That's just how I look at it. Nobody is bigger than a judge. Nobody's bigger than a jury. So I don't care to, listen to, oh man, I would give back my season ticket. All right, cool. Well, that guy's just going to take your season ticket. That's fine. I'm not showing up to any other games. All right, cool. Well, that person's going to show up to the game. So that's why for me, man, I just really don't put a lot of stock in that part of it as it pertains to these type of situations.
Yeah. Dude, if he is available, he's interested in us, and he gets cleared. I mean, because that's the big thing.
That's the big thing. He has to get cleared.
I mean, that's obvious. Yeah, because you're right. As much as the allegations are out there and stuff, and let's take a huge shot to his reputation. Yeah. If he's legally cleared, what can you do? You can't say anything. Right. It's just all reputation at that point.
And it's like, what's the purpose of having a law and judicial system if we're not going to respect it? If every time something comes up and we're like, whoa, no, we're going to pick this side and this is what we're rolling with, and we determine it got guilty before any innocence or any information and evidence comes out, then what are we doing? What separates us from countries that don't operate like that? That's the part that we love about being in America, right? You get that opportunity to have due process. But once again, even with OJ, that's why you have a trial, correct? So we laugh at OJ. If you could prove without a shadow of a doubt, why didn't they do it? It's that simple to me, man. Why didn't they do it? Answer it. Answer it. Come on.
Dude, I get it. I get it. That's a tough one, though. Watching that doc, that's a tough one.
Yeah, but you can watch whatever documentary you want to watch.
I'm just making a joke.
That's kind of how I look at it, bro.
No, I'm just making a joke. But you're 100% right. Yeah. That's why I brought up.
It's due process, bro.
That's why we have the due process. That's why when people make allegations, that's why you go through judge, jury, all that other type of stuff. You go through the courts.
Yeah.
And if he's cleared, then
and we've seen the other side of it, right? We've seen the other side of it where guys don't even get that chance to, have the evidence represent them. They feel like, man, they can't afford to have the proper lawyer representation. And we see how that represents and how that affects guys as well, man, especially, what a lot of the NFL players are being minorities. They have, and me personally, have experienced those type of situations where you're like, man, you're guilty before anything happens. So, man, that's why I don't really, play around with that as much as people,
Hey, what do you think about him being suspended, though?
Is there a possibility of it? Sure. But at the same time, I think that he would have a great leg to stand on, especially if he's found innocent from a grand jury perspective in terms of not putting criminal charges on him. I think that's a game changer. I think that gives him all the ammunition he needs to fight Roger Goodell and that Shield if they try to put big suspensions on him for anything. I understand the conduct policy, the NFL conduct policy, and that's real. But at the same time, if these are false accusations, I don't want to hear that, because that's also the purpose of the NFLPA and why they are there to represent the players. Because if it is proven that, these accusations are false, but why should he be reprimanded or disciplined for false accusations? And that was one of our biggest issues that we've been fighting even back in 2014 with the NFL, because we said that, man, in the regular world, you get due process. You're innocent until proven guilty. In the NFL, we weren't getting due process. And we were always viewed as guilty until proven innocent. And that's why anytime you would see somebody have an allegation, whether it was domestic violence, whether it was not even a DUI from a legal standpoint, but just any type of thing there where their name pops up publicly, they're getting suspended. Then it was like, bro, why are you suspending these guys? And it comes to find out they were innocent. It comes to find out this is a false accusation. But that damage has already been done. That guy's money has already been taken out of his pocket, because when you're suspended, you do not get paid also. So that's why we really fought that fight. And then it started to shift in terms of it just being Roger Goodell making these decisions. It became more of a, hey, we got this and this guy to kind of help with this process. And then the NFLPA really started to represent and say, you know what? Well, we're going to make sure we fight any of this stuff to give you guys that real courtesy that you're supposed to get in terms of being an American. What's the point of, like I said, having due process if you're always viewed as guilty first? Like, nah, that should not be the case, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess you're right. If the criminal stuff's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they going to view the last year as a suspension? Because it's a weird scenario where he already won it out.
He wasn't suspended. That's why he was, and that was the weird part about it. But for Houston, that was the approach that they wanted to take, because it wasn't just the allegations. It was also him saying before any allegation came out, he was not going to play for the Texans ever again, which is why some people even speculate, hey, man, was this the Texans doing this? was this a little bit of a smear campaign in a sense? And that's the part where it's like, we don't know right now, but due process is going to allow us to get that information. This grand jury that's happening today, that's going to give us that opportunity to get that information. Because if they're looking at it and they review it and they say, man, this doesn't add up, this stinks, I think that this is going on behind closed doors. Well, now that comes to light. Now that has legs, but we won't know that if we don't give it due process.
Yeah, I just wonder if the Texans were actually going to play him if the NFL steps in and puts him on like the exempt list too.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Again,
like that's why I wonder if
but
like they're going to
again,
consider last year's suspended time.
Yeah, because my whole thing is, man, with the exempt list, you do that when it is, like I said, on a criminal level, or if it's potential to be criminal. But right now, it is not. You know how many guys deal with civil suits during the season? Tons. It's real. But civil suits is a personal issue. And that's why we don't really get disciplined as often for civil suits, because we know with a civil suit, man, it could be somebody just trying to do a money grab. They want to get you to settle out of court, because for us as players, we are at a competitive disadvantage in that avenue. It hurts us more to fight a civil suit because of the public eye. We're always viewed as the bad guy. Whereas you could just pay a person $100,000 into that person. They're like, oh, great. You saved my life. I'm done now. I'm good. And for us, it's like, well, cool. It was not even 10%, but it was to get you to shut up and leave me alone so I could go on about my business. That's the part of the problem for NFL players that we got to deal with. And that's why the NFL really doesn't reprimand guys for civil suits, because we know how frequently that happens. Just because it's not public all the time, it happens a lot.
What other teams are out? I mean, all I'm hearing is Panthers and Steelers. What other teams for Watson right now? Like are actually legitimate.
The Colts,
the mix.
The Colts are in there,
I guess.
But you have to worry about, because obviously with the division and stuff like that. But I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, I could see the Texans not trading him to the Colts for that reason. And then we talk about the no trade clause, so
and that's
you could also see where he doesn't want to go to the Panthers.
Yeah, he dictates his terms in this, and that's the best part. That's why we are in that driver's seat, because we already knew that he wanted to play for Brian Flores. He was very specific about that. And now with him being here, Brian Flores, I'm talking about being with Pittsburgh, it's only right. It makes the most sense. And we have a need at quarterback, along with having money to pay for a guy like Deshaun Watson.
Miami was in the mix. I don't think they are anymore with the new coach.
Well, they already said that. They said that they no longer are interested in any other quarterback because they believe in Tua. So, yeah, Miami is definitely off the board.
Tampa Bay. I did hear Tampa Bay.
Yeah. But I know with them, I got to see their money situation. I know that's something that people have talked about with them, if I remember correctly. But,
it's got to be bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was about to say they still have a money situation that they got to handle, and that's why with them, they still don't view them as like that favorite, and that's why they really talk about Pittsburgh and Carolina. But the no trade clause that he has changes everything. But also, I mean, that's kind of like with the Jimmy G situation. I know I just saw with him, with his no trade clause, he said he had specific teams that he would waive it for, and Pittsburgh being one of those teams as well, man.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything recent on Jimmy G, though.
Yeah.
With the Steelers.
Well, because
that was like 3 weeks ago. I think that's died down. I'm hearing Colts now.
Well, no. Not in terms of what teams are interested in him. Jimmy G specifically listed 4 teams that he would waive his no trade clause for, and Pittsburgh was one of them. That's all.
As long as we're not interested, we're in the clear.
All right. I know you believe in 30 and 10. I hear you. 30 and 10. Mm-hmm.
I'd just rather have Mason than Jimmy G. Especially at that number.
You said 30 and 10. You said 30 and 10. I remember. We're not walking away from that.
I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's that far out there.
30 touchdowns, 10 picks. Mason Rudolph. That's what you said next year.
Especially, don't
you back off of it.
I'm not going to back off. I just said it could happen. But, like, I think 25 and 10 is more realistic. And if I think that is there.
Don't you walk it back down. Don't you walk it back down.
No, my reasoning is if I'm thinking 25 and 10, bro, like with the extra game right now, I don't think 30 and 10 is that crazy.
Well, don't shy away. Don't say 25, 30 and 10. And 30 and 10 means he should beat out 90% of these quarterbacks that we're talking about, if that's the case. You know, not the Deshaun Watson type, because he's that 10%. We are getting
out of the context of what I was talking. I was saying, like, if he does do that, the value is huge. And if I do think 25 and 10 is a really good situation, or a really realistic situation. Is that realistic?
Not value. Is that realistic? Is he capable of that? You feel like he's capable of 30 and 10.
I think he's capable. But what I'm saying, I don't think that's too far-fetched if I'm thinking I actually think a realistic scenario could be 25-10. So that's why I don't think 30-10 is that far of a stretch. And then if that happens at $5 million, that might be the most valuable quarterback in the league based off $5 million contract.
Hey, you know what else? If Alex Highsmith goes out there and gets 15 sacks next year, and you look at his contract, man, that's great value as well. You know?
It is. You're 100% right.
If Devin Bush goes out there and gets 160 tackles and he leads the league in interceptions, that'd be a great value as well. You catch what I'm doing here? Hey, man, if Cam Sutton comes out next year, he leads the league in interceptions. If James Pierre comes out, he's an all-pro next year on his deal, man, that's a great situation, right? You catch my drift?
Yeah. No, I catch your drift. But the disparity between some of these high quarterback contracts versus Mason Rudolph at $5 million is huge compared to some of the other positions. I get what you're saying, though. I 100% get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm with you, though. I catch what you're saying. It's just I don't believe that Mason is capable of 30-10 right now. That's my biggest issue with it.
That's what I'm saying, though. What about just 25-10? Because I don't see that as far stretch at all.
When you say, bro, what did Ben do last year? Just think about that. What did Ben do last year?
What did he do? Was it 23-10 or something like that?
So you're telling me Mason is going to do more than what your boy Stefan did last year with the same coordinator? Just think about what you're telling me.
I think Canada's going to tailor things toward Mason, unlike what he did last year.
But think about what's the difference between Mason and Ben? Is Mason way faster than Ben? Is Mason a zone read guy? Is Mason a mobile quarterback? No.
I will grant him this. I will grant him the speed. I will grant him that. I mean, Ben wasn't doing what he was doing in the Lions game.
Mason and
in terms
Ben,
of mobility.
Listen, Mason and Ben, they're both in terms of athletic ability. Yes, okay, Mason is younger, so he has a little bit more straight line speed. But we're not going to act like Mason is blowing Ben out the water in anything dealing with athletic ability. And you're telling me that on top of not just athletic ability, from a quarterback savvy perspective, that he's going to be better than Ben in terms of throwing touchdowns and minimizing interceptions? Like, just think about that.
I've been calling for.
No. But you've already thrown this on Mason. That's what I'm asking you. Like, are you listening to what you're even saying? You're telling me that Mason should have been starting last year then.
No, definitely not.
If Mason is capable of 30-10, why weren't we starting him over 7 last year? It is that simple to me, man.
No, because like I said,
if he was capable of 25, if he was 25-10, why weren't we starting him over Ben last year? Because either way, both of those situations are better than what Ben did last year.
Because we're talking about this year coming up. If it was Mason in last year, I think he's doing worse than Ben because I think the offensive line is way worse than what we should be having.
Now you want to walk it back? Don't walk it back.
I'm not walking anything back. I'm talking about this season coming up. I think we're going to have a lot better offensive line. And I do think Canada will tailor the offense way more for Mason. I think there was a butting of heads last year with the offensive system.
Whatever makes you feel good about it, baby. Whatever makes you feel good about
it. I don't think 25-10 is that much of a stretch.
All right, we're going to get a chance to find out. Hopefully.
Now, would I rather have Deshaun Watson? Going back to that, yeah.
But why would we want Deshaun Watson if we can get 30-10 from Mason for $5 million? You just said it yourself. It's a way better value, right?
It is a better value.
That's way better value. So
it is
why
better
would we
value,
want
but
Deshaun? Yeah.
You're asking me right now, who do I want, Deshaun Watson or Mason Rudolph? It's not even a question.
But it is if Mason is 30-10 on a $5 million deal. Maybe Deshaun, might be a little rusty. He's still out the whole year, right?
Dude, Deshaun's already done that. He's already done that. I'm just saying,
but he costs way more. You said best value. He does
cost way more.
Mason, he does, but
now you don't have the questions. You don't have the uncertainty because Mason could tank this year. He could suck. He could tank.
Man, you not worried about him sucking or tanking. You told me he's going to get 30-10, 25-10. That's like where he's at. So
if we do go with him, I actually do think he's going to outperform what everyone thinks.
If he's capable of 30-10, there isn't a if we go with him. We are going with him. If he's capable of that, what are we talking about here?
That's why I don't think it's the end of the world if we go. I really don't. I really don't. But if you have the chance to get a Russ, a Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, I think you just do that. But outside of them, and I've been saying this the whole time, I don't think Mason's like that bad of an option for us. I really don't.
But I'm just
compared to everything else. Like I'm happy we didn't get Wentz. I'm really happy.
If he's 30-10, what's the purpose of a Deshaun Watson?
Dude, this is unknown. Like, that's the thing. This is unknown.
So how many more?
I'm talking about like a 5% chance of Mason getting that 30-10, a 10%.
Don't tell me you're this invested in Mason and it's only 5 to 10% that you believe that this is the case. Because if that is the case, then why are we even continuing to talk about Mason in this regard. You don't speak of Mason as if you only have a 10% belief in him. You speak of it like you have a 70 to 80% belief in him. You can hear the passion
70,
when you speak
80% of
on
him playing good.
No, not good.
Of him
of
playing
being
good.
25 and 10, 30 and 10. You're saying 30 and 10, though. Like, that's the barometer that you put on that man. I don't see that. I really don't, man.
Bro, here's the thing. I mean, I just think he's going to play well. I think he's going to outseed expectations. So if it is 30 and 10, I don't think that's that much of a stretch if we're saying playing well. Because what's playing well? Playing well is 24, 25 touchdowns and 10 picks. Why can't it be an extra 5 because there's an extra game?
Hey, certain guys don't have that type of talent. Certain guys don't have that type of poise. Certain guys don't have that type of experience, that type of comfort. That's why. But I get it. If you want to believe in Mason like that, go for it, man. I don't agree with you, but I hear you. So it's all good, man. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for feeling like that about Mason. Plenty of people have been wrong before. Plenty of people have been right before. We don't predict the future. So, hey, man, I'm not going to tell you not to believe in Mason. You believe in him, man. You believe in him.
Oh, it's all relative too. It's relative to a bunch of the other quarterbacks we've talked about, and at that price. Mm-hmm. So that's why I stand for it. That's why I'm for it. Comparing him to Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, no. Even at those contracts, I would just want those guys. But whenever we're talking about Carson Wentz for $25 million, Jimmy G for $20+ million,
I just don't see.
So with Mason at 5.
I just don't see how that makes sense, though, to want Rodgers or any of those guys when you know they're going to cost way more and they already have been in the league longer. Where you can get Mason, who's super young, relatively speaking, for NFL terms at the quarterback position, you'll get him way cheaper, even when you extend him, because you can say, well, you only did this for 1 year, so now you extend your ability to continue to have high-end talent around him. Based on what you're saying, why would you want that? Why would you eat up all that money and all that ability to continue to put more talent around him for one of these marquee guys that, okay, with Russ, limited window, right? Because he's older. With Rodgers, very, very limited window because he is a lot older. We know with Watson, yeah, you have a larger window, but you have to already pay him way more money. I just don't see why that would make sense if Mason is already a 30 and 10 guy. I just think you roll with a 30 and 10 and you just keep bumping up the pieces around him. And when you have to extend him a year from now, you still not having to pay him $40 million like you're paying some of these other guys. So that's why when you make your argument, I just don't follow it like that, man. That's all.
I'm not guaranteeing 30 and 10 though. I'm not at all. I don't think it's that crazy. I'm saying, like, if you're saying 40 and 10, 35 and 10, yeah, that seems a little more unrealistic. Mm-hmm. But if I'm just saying he's going to be good next year,
yeah.
Well, how is 25 and 10 that far off? And then, like I said, you just add a couple more touchdowns with the extra game. I don't see how that's no. But there's that. But with Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, their contracts and just bringing them on, you are Super Bowl contenders instantly. With Mason Rudolph, no matter how good he plays, we don't know that. He could have good stats. Does that make us Super Bowl contenders? I don't know how he performs. You take that chance, no matter what the window is. If it's 2 or 3 years, Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl contender, I'll take that. Russell Wilson, Super Bowl contenders for 5 or 6 years, I'll take that. Deshaun Watson, you're legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Mason Rudolph, we might not even know that, even if he plays well this year, because we got to see how he does playoff. The book is still out on him, it really is. But we know that type of stuff with those other quarterbacks.
Okay.
Carson Wentz, 27 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Washington Super Bowl contenders.
Mm-hmm. They're a lot closer than we are right now at the
maybe
quarterback
playoff
position.
Relevant.
They're a lot closer at the quarterback position than we are.
I know Carson Wentz is more proven, but this goes back to what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather have Mason at 5 than Carson Wentz at like 27 or 28. That's my thing.
Cool. All right. Let's get to the chat.
All right, we got Black and Martyr. No, he already mentioned that.
Yeah, he already went that.
Did he say that? The Metallica shirt.
Yeah, we should be at the Barbarian. Yep.
He says, is it true that Deshaun Watson wants to come to Pittsburgh? If so, how expensive he would be to our salary cap?
He's going to cost. Yeah, he would cost
$40
a lot,
million,
man.
Right?
Yeah, he's going to cost a lot, and I don't envision the Texans taking on some of his salary either.
All right. I lost everything, dude. So
right, we're good.
You got this after
Pittsburgh.
that. I'm at Vince
Got...
Trombetta. That's the last one I'm at.
Okay, perfect. I got a couple in front of you then. So Litzberg7 says, just showing some love. Love this podcast. I got the virtual Super Bowl for T Gritty 100% Steelers themed team. Shout out to Litzberg7 for showing that love and supporting the OB, the homie. I said the homie, the OB. Jordan, I'm all over the place. All right. We also got Alex Mathis tuning in saying, I've tried to join the upper room in the YouTube app and then Safari, but the link just sends me to your homepage. Is getting on a computer the only way? When you do the link, you have to have your phone and click on the desktop version on your phone. If not, then yeah, just go to your computer. But it has to be the desktop version, the mobile app version. Whether you're doing it on Safari, it automatically triggers to the mobile when you're on your phone. So you have to just switch it to desktop. That's the only thing with that. But we definitely appreciate your support, though, Alex. We definitely appreciate you. All right, next up is Vegas STJG. He says, Art, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like Arthur a little bit better than Art. I'm not an Art guy. Just throwing it out there for the crowd. So, Arthur, you should announce Deke's Steelers Madden Ultimate Team games. And Deke, you got to change the running back. You can't get a Bettis instead of that quitter Blunt. Keep up the great work, fellas.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blunt's running back one. Although they just dropped TJ Watt.
Ooh.
He's really good. He's really good in the game. They dropped a TJ Watt halfback card recently, like an out of position card, and he's actually pretty good. So I might be going with him.
TJ Watt halfback card. How does that work?
Yeah, it's Madden, dude. It's Madden. You got to get people excited.
They're getting creative. I can dig it, man.
Yeah, it makes it fun. I'm not even gonna lie. I like the promotion of the backyard. They call it the backyard ballers. They have a bunch of dudes in different positions. Like they swapped the Diggs brothers. They put Stefan Diggs at cornerback, and then his brother Trevon at receiver. There's some cool stuff they're doing.
That's dope. I like that. Then.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff. They got like Jimmy Graham at safety. I'm not thrilled about a bunch of it because they're not dropping that many Steeler cards. The Watt brothers are the only ones we got. Yeah. But no, it's a cool little promo. I'm not.
I like that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was
against
the concept.
It.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're at Vince Trombetto now, though, so you're good to go.
Okay, I like this. He says, I'll put 100 on the under of 24.5 touchdowns, over on 10.5 interceptions. See, I'd take the over on the touchdowns. I would. If you're going to say 24.5, I'd take that over.
Well, hey, as long as Mason doesn't get hurt and he's capable of that, he'll beat out anybody we bringing in, right? So we're good. So Vince, man, just keep – you make sure that you remember that once the season starts, when we're going to get here, all right? Yeah. All right, who we got
Young
next?
Shacky.
Okay.
Says, with our defense, I believe we can make a run with someone like Winston or Jimmy G while saving all of that money you would pay Watson.
Well, you know how I feel about Jameis Winston. I definitely agree with you on that because he's proven. He's a way better version, and I could definitely see that. And I think contract-wise, I like him more than Jimmy G just because he is a cheaper version. But both of those guys you win with. Both of those guys have already proven they could win. Both of those guys, well, and definitely Jimmy G, he's a big winner, right? Based on the criteria that we've talked about on this show. He big wins. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to NFC Championship games. Like he's in those avenues multiple times. So yeah, man, like I said, for me, I would lean more Winston just because he's a cheaper version. But yeah, either one of those guys you could win with, honestly.
Yeah, I go Winston. That was the other option. Like if we go Winston for 10 or 15, I mean, he's starting right off the bat. I think that's good value too.
See, I don't know if he's gonna start now, man. If Mason's capable of 30 and 10, I think Mason pushes him to the limit, bro.
I mean, Jameis
we've only
is
seen
better
Jameis, but we only seen Jameis do 30 and 30. We haven't seen Jameis do 30 and 10. Remember that he was 30 for 30 with 5K passing. So I just think that if Mason's going out with 30 and 10, I was like, bro, that's too efficient, man. How are you gonna sit Mason Rudolph behind James Winston if he's 30 and 10? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you just can't do it.
Well, like I said, I think Jameis is the better quarterback. So, and I think you're getting him on a good contract as opposed to a lot of the other quarterbacks. That's what I'm thinking.
I just want to think he's a better quarterback if I see Mason go 30 and 10. I just don't, because I seen Jameis go 30 and 30. I ain't never seen Jameis go 30 and 10. I just think that's the better version. That's all I'm saying.
If we sign Jameis, I mean, he's got the potential of 35. Maybe 35 and 15. Maybe we bump up his picks a little bit, but yeah, he's got that potential. Maybe even 40. I mean, he's got that type of potential. But that's what I mean. The floor for Mason is worse than Jameis. 27, 28 touchdowns, 30. Like that's 100% realistic. So that's what I'm talking about. Then all right, we bump that up like a 10%, a 35 touchdown season for Jameis, yeah.
Hey, man, I just think that Mason's going to push him to the limit. I think it would be a real tough decision that we'd have to make, man.
Dude, if we sign Jameis, I want to get rid of Mason. I don't want the $5 million on the books.
No, man. I want to see if 30 and 10 could beat him out. I think 30 and 10 beats him out. That's why I'm like, I don't even want to bring in Jameis if we got 30 and 10 already in house, bro. Because that's way better than what Jameis has done. Jameis hasn't done 30 and 10. He hasn't.
No, I'm the opposite. I want Mason off the roster if we bring in Jameis. I would feel the same way if we brought in like Wentz or like Jimmy G. Hey, listen, I don't want Mason taking up cap space. I just think their value's terrible.
None of those guys have given me 30 and 10. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm rolling with Mason. If Mason has 30 and 10, give me that over any of these guys we're talking about. No debate to me, man. Yeah. I'm on the Mason train with you now. I'm with you.
All let's go UW. Says, so in terms of draft strategy, how would you feel about just beefing up the defense and building the offense via free agency? Make whoever the quarterback's job is easy as possible. I mean, we've been talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the method, especially if we're not going super high-end quarterback because we already got a guy in place for 30 and 10. Then it's like, yeah, man, you beef up everything else with that money that you have available. And now, in all seriousness, that's why it makes sense. Like, if you bring in one of these guys at quarterback, why keep Mason in that $5 million when you can go spend that on getting another piece in here potentially to help out that quarterback? So, yeah, I'm with you on that, man.
We got an upper room member.
Alex Mathis. It worked. Shout out to you, baby. And welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. And we appreciate your support as always, man. Welcome to the family. All righty. So, man, you ready to hit this next topic, bro?
Let's go for it.
All right. Well, before we do that, I just remembered as I was looking over here that we got to pay a bill today because today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. The leaders in below the waistline grooming, baby. You know they get all the delicate spots and make them nice and sweet for you and whoever you like to have a little bit of fun with. But more importantly, man, it just makes the male grooming experience that much better, right? When we talk about that Lawnmower 4.0, we talk about the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, the body wash, that spray, the cologne, you got to smell good. And like I told you, St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, so we all trying to get lucky, okay? But the best way to do that is to use the promo code, right? And that promo code is Moats. Use that code, you get 20% off of your purchase plus free shipping worldwide. So that way you could be like me and all of our Irish people out there and get lucky come St. Patty's Day. All right. So with that being said, baby, shout out to Manscaped. And trust me on this, your delicate twins will definitely thank you as well. Mm-hmm.
You doing anything for St. Patty's Day out there?
Man, I wish. It's.
I think it's being celebrated this weekend up here. Yeah, I think there's parades and stuff. Yeah,
I wish, man. I'm St. Patty's Day, birthday, everything is postponed for me until I get back into town. That's what I'm gonna do. All the celebrating I want to do. But right now,
do you ever have green beers?
I have not, man. No. In fact, man, the first time I was really going to celebrate St. Patty's Day to like the full extent was 2 years ago. That's when COVID first came out because my birthday is the 14th, so it's always around St. Patty's Day. And it just so happened that my birthday was on that Saturday, and that's when everybody was celebrating St. Patty's Day. And I was like, y'all got this concept. I'm gonna do a birthday bar crawl, but it's gonna be like with fans in the sense of like we go and we say, hey man, we're gonna do shots for charity. We're gonna do X amount of shots at this part, X amount of shots at this part. It would have been dope, you know what I mean? But literally, that was the weekend where COVID happened and everything got shut down, and it's just been 2 years of everything kind of being like that. So yeah, it kind of threw off my whole little plan, but it is what it is.
Oh, that would have been fun.
I know, man. Trust me, I haven't forgot about it. I have not forgot about it. It's still in the works. And when I think of what were we drinking, we were in Green Bay. Was it like Irish? It had like you remember we were talking about? It had the was it Irish? It was coffee inside of it. Guinness. Irish Car Bomb. That's what it was called. You remember that when we were doing that? Well, you actually might not remember that. I know you was.
I do remember it. Yeah.
Okay. Those were cool. You know what I mean? So, and that was a little Irish pub we were in. So, I definitely want us
that
to.
That low-key was a good spot.
It was, bro. It was. So it's like I want to do something like that in all seriousness. But I just been trying to wait for the timing to get right. And obviously this year the timing is not right. But who knows? Maybe next year, we do some type of charity bar crawl for my birthday / St. Patrick's Day as well, man, to turn up.
Yeah. You want me to hit off this super chat real quick?
Yeah, let's get that real quick. Yep.
All right. He says, because this is kind of what we've been talking about. Would it be worth trading a current player on the roster for a better draft position? might be better to go for Malik or Kenny. Trading costs a lot.
I mean, I agree. I just think that you could move up without having to give a player per se. I just don't, you know what I mean? Like whether you're saying,
picks.
Yeah, just do the picks. I don't really want to give up proven players for draft guys in that sense, just to move a couple of spots when you could just trade away. All right, let's swap second round picks with this team, and they, you know, might hook us up and let us move up a little bit in the first, like that type of situation. I'd much rather try that first. That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. What's the next topic? We had some hot shit going on.
Yeah, man. It's been hot in the kitchen, baby. It's been hot in the kitchen. But yeah, man, we had Khalil Mack, man. He just got traded, obviously, to the LA Chargers. And with his deal, I believe it was for a second-round pick and a sixth-round draft pick. But the Chargers have to take on his contract. Now, when you think about Khalil Mack, we know who he is, man. He is as good as advertised. He, you know, is up there with T.J. Watt. Those are the type of guys, you know, that he is in conversation with because of what he's been able to do on the field and how he's been a consistent all-pro defensive player of the year guy. Like, he's that caliber player. But, man, when I saw the trade, at first I was like, man, that was it?
Yeah.
Like, I just thought it would be a lot more than that, right? But, is the contract...
Yeah, because Von Miller went for a second and a third.
Yeah, right. So for him to go for a second and a sixth, it's like, I get the contract is massive still, but what you're getting in terms of that talent, man.
I think it's a good deal on both sides. I just think the Bears should have gotten more. That's my only thing, because they're in rebuild mode. They got to get rid of that, because the cap hit for him the next couple of years in like the 20 millions. And like this is why it works for the Chargers, because his dead cap's not bad. So they have a ton of cap space this offseason.
Yeah.
If they just want to have him for this year, things don't work out. He's banged up, injured. He starts to get washed. Yeah, his dead cap's like 11 million. So you just deal with that. That's why you have Herbert at quarterback. This is why you take those chances, kind of like the Rams.
And they got Bosa on the other side of them, so you still kind of hedge that bet anyways.
Yeah, I think it was good for both sides. Like for the Chargers, this is the right time to make that type of move with Herbert on a rookie contract. You feel that you could probably be Super Bowl contenders if you could just build a pretty decent team around them. Yeah, and with them having a ton of cap space, you know what? Khalil Mack's not a bad guy to start off with this offseason. Re-signing Mike Williams, bringing in Mack. And then you see what's happening in the AFC West with Broncos bringing in Russell Wilson and everyone kind of loading up. You don't want to be left in the dust right there, because you still missed out on the playoffs. But we all view the Chargers as that caliber team, kind of pretty much even with the Chiefs, because you got to think, I think Herbert's 3-1 against Mahomes. Yeah, it's just they haven't been able to like keep it together. Correct. Keep it together.
Yeah, the Chargers, they definitely have those swings of inconsistency, and they swing just a lot lower at times, and that's what affects them to that extent. But I'm definitely with you though, man. Like the Chargers, I mean, I love the move for them. Like I said, it makes sense for the Bears as well. It's just for me, when I see the price, and I'm like, you mean to tell me if it didn't pan out a year later, you can get away with, you know, roughly 11 mil in dead money? Like, is Khalil Mack not worth that flyer? Like, you know, just asking. Like, I like Alex Highsmith. I do.
Oh, you're talking about for us. Yeah.
I was just thinking. Like, because in the sense of like, okay, do we stick with a Mason or do we draft a young quarterback? Okay, we say you beef up everything else around him. Khalil Mack and T.J. Watt versus T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. Which one would you prefer?
That's obvious. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's kind of my whole thing with it. And it still doesn't take away from you having Alex Highsmith on your roster. He still is your third guy because he's on a rookie contract. So it's not like you're saying you get rid of him. And essentially, if you wanted to treat Khalil as a 1-year high expense rental to make sure you have the absolute best roster out there with potentially Mason, Haskins, or any young quarterback that we could acquire, just makes me wonder, like, man, should we have considered that?
I don't think it would have been bad to consider. Only a second round pick. It's just the contract. Do we want to be paying Khalil Mack? So I think his cap hit's 18 right now. Yeah. It's between 18 and 20 versus because then the whole other option would be, you know, you spend that 18 on this player. That's it. Right. But if Khalil Mack can turn back the clock a little bit. I mean, he was playing good last year until he got hurt.
It was just he got hurt. That was it. So I guess my question is a this player and a that player that you could, if 2 or 3 players you could get for one Khalil Mack price, do you think those 3 guys impact the game the way that Khalil Mack would impact the game, especially playing opposite TJ Watt with Cam Hayward in the inside and you still got Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end? I just personally think that, he's that type of guy. He will be worth it to me if that's the route we're going. Now, if we're still trying to acquire one of these quarterbacks, then it makes sense. Don't get your money tied up in one of those guys. And that's what I'm still waiting to see. Like, what's our move here? You know, because we're not targeting a guy like Khalil Mack. And it's like, okay, what's the reason behind that? Now, is it because Khalil Mack just didn't want to come here? Or is it, we just didn't really want to, venture out into that? We think we're going to get one of these guys that we talk about, whether it's a Deshaun Watson, right? Or any of these guys. Like, that's the part for me. I'm just trying to see, like, how is this going to play out? And we're going to get that information soon with free agency starting up, next week. Like, we're going to get some of those details.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of rumors flying around.
Yeah, absolutely,
us resigning Edmonds if we don't go for him. Jordan Whitehead coming back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carlton Davis. I think some of these were broken by your boy, too, Filippone.
Absolutely, man. I think he just shot me a text, too.
There was another. Was there another name or two? But we are being starting to be linked to some of these players out there. Like, all right, so hold on. Stefan Gilmore, what were we saying with him? 13, 14 maybe?
Yeah, probably in that range.
Carlton Davis, what could he be going for? Maybe 10?
Yeah, 10 to 11. Because he's younger, though. He's younger than Gilly. Yeah, but still not as proven as Gilly either on that level. So, yeah. I mean, double digits regardless, but low double digits.
Like, yeah, maybe could you get the Carlton Davis plus Devondre Campbell combination versus Khalil Mack? Right. Maybe I'd go with the 2 players. We talked about Bobby
Wagner. It's like, would you rather have one Bobby Wagner or have a Devondre Campbell and, a Carlton Davis? Like, to me, personally, I'd rather go with that absolute stud player versus 2 good players. Because good players, you need them, absolutely. But good players work when you have great quarterback play or you have – something great already to counterbalance you in a sense. Right now, we don't have that necessarily. So our margin of error is still very tight. And that's why if your margin of error is tight, you want to make sure you have proven above reproach guys that are going to be difference makers out there week in and week out. And that's kind of my approach with it.
What do you think of Bobby Wagner versus Khalil then? I'd probably go Bobby just position-wise.
Yeah, position-wise.
Highsmith could make that jump. And Highsmith played good last year, I thought.
Well, no, put it like this. Highsmith is a good player, without a doubt. I just don't think Highsmith is Khalil Mack. He's not that. And I think that's the biggest difference. But for me, I would lean Bobby Wagner just because our inside linebacker position, we have to improve. Whether we're talking Devin Bush or Joe Schobert or both of those guys. We need to improve that part of our defense. Whereas I don't feel like Alex Highsmith is anywhere viewed like how we view Devin Bush and Joe Schobert right now. I think Alex Highsmith is a daggone good player who's a proven starter in this league, and you want that guy. That's why I was very clear when I said even if you bring in Khalil, you still keep Alex. Because Alex is a guy that you're going to want to pay down the line. You're going to want to keep him here. He's the next guy in the wings, but because of his contract and where he's at right now, you can get away with the Khalil Mack for a year. That's why I was thinking it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else on this one? I think we both agree that
we're on the same
made a pretty good move here. I just think the Bears maybe could have got more, but who knows? Because the contract definitely does make things worse.
Yeah.
That's why Von Miller probably went for the 2nd and the 3rd as opposed to Khalil Mack for just the 2nd and the 6th, because Von Miller was done after the Rams wouldn't have to worry about that contract if things went sour.
Correct.
I guess that's it. I would have guessed like a 1st maybe though, or maybe at least a 2nd and a 3rd, 2nd and a 4th.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was like, I get you got to take on the contract, but knowing that you got that out a year later, like that doesn't kill you. Like I look at Bud Dupree's contract and I was like, man, because I saw what Harold Landry had just did his mega extension. I'm like, is he a potential release candidate? And I'm like, well, he got $28 million in dead cap if they release him now. Even the following year, I think it said 11. No, it's teens. I want to say it's in the teens. So even when I look at that, I'm like, oh, that seems a little bit more steep. But 11 mil for dead cap, that's not crazy for a team that has cap space and knowing what you're going to get from Khalil in that 1 year, man.
Yeah. What do we got next?
Let me hit some of these supers real quick. We know we got David Jackson. David Jackson just joined that upper room. David Jackson, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And welcome to the family, baby. We always appreciate any of you guys' support, but especially you, David, since you just jumped on with us, baby. So shout out to you.
Steeler Nation on fire. What if no QB gets drafted this year, even though it's not going to happen? I'm not sure what he's saying. That sounds incoherent to me.
If no QB gets drafted this year, even though it's not going to happen. All right. Well, you know, we promote the Mars community. I'm with you on it. If we don't get a QB, nothing's gonna happen. I got you. We're gonna struggle this year. I share that sentiment. Deke doesn't per se.
Oh, is that what he's saying? If that's what he's saying, I don't know about that.
Yeah. What if no QB gets drafted this year, even though it's not gonna happen? Like, what are we gonna do if that doesn't happen? We're gonna roll with 30 and 10. Yeah, we're rolling Mason. Yeah. I think that's how I'm trying to interpret it. Deke hit it. He said, "Man, this might be a little incoherent. It's early. I don't know. I don't know right now, man."
Yeah, maybe he'll follow up. Caleb Blisker says, "What are the odds we draft Sky Moore? Him and Tomlin have a good relationship, I think, and he wants to be a Steeler."
No, they do have a good
relationship.
What are the
odds? As good as anyone else.
Hey, listen. No. His odds are up there with Connor Hayward and with Troy Polamalu, little cousin. Yeah. They all in that same vein. When you start talking about personal
Maryland
ties,
players?
They go into that top percentile. So don't be surprised.
Mike Lang, Moats and Cali making a movie. Can't fool me. He's the stunt double in the football scenes for a Lawrence Taylor documentary.
Hey, stop it, man.
That's pretty good.
Listen, man.
That's a good one.
But before I was married, I would love to be the stunt double for some of his pre-game antics, man. You heard about what he was saying. He was like, "Yo, I would send, ladies to the opposing team's hotel to wear their legs." I'm like, "Oh, bro, this dude is off the chain. Like, who thinks like that?" So, I mean, it's out of control. Yeah, he was living a wild life, man. And as an NFL player, I can tell you this, man. I know some wild dudes, bro, but they won't being able to. They couldn't do it like LT could do it while being wild like that. For him to be wild and produce like that, that's insane to me, man. But shout out to him. And no, I am not shooting a movie, even though it would be kind of cool to shoot a movie. But I can't be doing all that, man. I can't be showing my body and kissing them anybody because I love my boo thing and she know I'm coming home soon. What they saying in Bad Boys 2? Call the wife. Tell her I am on the way. Okay? But anywho, we got Steely Mike hopping in this thing, joining in the upper room. Steely Mike, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. Welcome. All right, and you get this last super, and after that, we'll get to the next part of this show.
I think this is what he was trying to say. He says, "Can the Steelers get Gilmore and JC?"
I would hope that they get one or the other. If we are not acquiring,
there's no way we can get both. There's no
not both. But you could definitely do one or the other if we're not spending on a quarterback in free agency, because that's the biggest part of this equation. You build them up if you don't got that high-end quarterback. If you do have the high-end quarterback, then you're not going to be able to get all the marquee talent around him that you would typically want to get right now.
Yeah. All right. What do we got next?
Your boy Carson Wentz, man, getting traded to the Washington Commanders. Now, with this, we don't have to spend a crazy amount of time on it, but I just look at it like this, man. I believe he went for, a second and a third round pick?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see here. There's a pick swap in it, too.
Yeah, it was a pick swap, but it was a second-round draft pick and a third-round draft pick from this year's Class 5, if I remember correctly.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. Yeah, we got team swapped second-round picks 2022. Colts moving up from number 47 overall to number 42. Yeah. Commanders getting a seventh-round pick. Colts will receive Commanders third-round picks in 2022 and 2023. The 2023 third-rounder can become a second-rounder if Wentz plays 70% of Washington snaps. So this is kind of the same scenario that was taking place last year with the Wentz trade from the Eagles to the Colts.
Yeah. So when I think of that, I just ask myself, in terms of the value that we always talk about, a second-round draft pick or a third-round draft pick in this year's draft versus what Carson Wentz currently is. How do you feel about that?
The picks aren't the end of the world. I think it's when you combine the picks and the cap hit that bothers me. Yeah, picks. Yeah, I think he's that type of value. He's solid. What's crazy is I'm seeing on Google. I just type in Carson Wentz because I was looking up some of the details of the trade last night. Some of the headlines: Frank Reich apologizes to Jim Irsay for vying for Carson Wentz. I'm like, wait, what are you apologizing for? Like, that was a good move.
It was, absolutely.
I mean, man, maybe at the time we didn't view it as much of a good move, but if you believed in Wentz being Reich, having that connection, you thought you could get him back to what he was with the Eagles in his prime, then you take that chance. And he threw for 27 touchdowns and 7 picks still. As much as we want to complain about maybe some of his bad moments, why are you apologizing to the owner? He wasn't that bad. I think what I'm saying, it's become a little too egregious on the Carson Wentz slander. Yeah. Now, at the cap hit, though, I'm still not that thrilled about. Because if we were the Steelers,
what's his cap hit officially?
Almost. I think it's almost 30. It's 28 or 29. I could double check it. Do I have?
And how many years are left on that deal? Also, because I'm wondering to myself.
It's just one because they could cut him. I think there's no dead cap.
Okay, because obviously you would think of maybe an extension potentially to just soften it a little bit, or at least like spread it out some.
Yeah, it's 28 cap hit. Next year, you could just cut them in the offseason and not have to worry about anything.
Okay.
So that's not terrible. That's not a terrible deal long term, but just for this year, $28 million cap hit kind of sucks.
No, I feel what you're saying on that. But, I guess for me, the biggest thing would be is if I believe that he could continue to progress and just be more consistent. Like you said, 27-7 is really good. But the problem is he had bad moments. The problem is he had games where he disappeared. Obviously, we talk about that Jacksonville game and, how bad it was for him as a whole, but also for the team. But I also think about, I believe it was a game they won, and he had like 53 passing yards. I don't want a $28 million cap hit. You're only giving me 53 yards and we're winning in spite of you. That's something that you're right. That does not sit well with me. And I just don't think that gives you the best in terms of bang for your buck. But we also know that was Carson Wentz trying to rebound and get back to, favorable standing within the league. Because prior to that, we were looking at him in Philly like, man, I don't know what's going on with this guy. So we understand when you're coming back from injuries, stuff like that, it has an effect on you. We understand when you change franchise, it can have an effect on you. But I do think that this was a step in the right direction for him last season. And I anticipate him continuing to take steps in the right direction, this upcoming season as well. But the cap hit is definitely higher than I would probably like also.
For me, with the Colts, to see if this is a win or not, depends on what they do at quarterback because they have a ton of cap space right now. So they could really build up their roster. I mean, they already have a solid roster. I checked their unrestricted free agents. It ain't that bad. It's like T.Y. Hilton and their guard Glowinski. There's like 2 or 3 guys that maybe they're trying to sign. I don't know if they're going to try to re-sign T.Y. Hilton, but Glowinski, they could probably get back on a decent deal. And then they're still going to have a ton of cap space. Yeah. So I'll be interested, though, if they get rid of Carson Wentz and then bring in, like, Jimmy G. It's like, bro, you didn't have to do all that.
Yeah.
You really didn't. But if they draft a rookie and they have a loaded team, like, if they draft Kenny Pickett, like, that could be the perfect situation for Pickett right there, actually.
That's different, though. That's very different, yeah.
Because they could have him on the rookie contract and then just have literally a loaded team around him. So I got to see what the Colts do. I think if they do the rookie quarterback approach, it'll be a win for them.
Well, yeah, because
outside of that, I mean, they could go for Deshaun Watson, but we already talked about Texans not wanting to trade him to the Colts.
But I also wonder now. But I wonder now with this move, like, how else does that affect, some of these other QB needy teams? Like, are we like how do you think we would have to move up now, or do you think we still can remain the same in that 20 or having to move up in front of the Saints range to get or to draft one of these quarterbacks that we keep talking about?
I just think the Malik Willis buzz keeps increasing. So I think if it's for specifically Malik Willis, I think we'd have to trade up. Anyone else? People, I mean, I could see Corral being there.
Him with Seattle. That's what I'm saying. People man, Seattle wants to take him. I'm like, how far do we got to move up? What are we talking about here?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to move into a top 10 situation.
No, it's too much
to get Malik Willis. Like I personally don't. But at the same time, I don't share the same optimism for Mason that you do. And that's why I'm stuck with this. Man, if we're not going to do this and we would have to move up drastically to do that, well, the next best thing is one of these guys. And that's kind of why I keep just always bringing it back to the room to see what y'all think on it, right? That's the beauty of this show. We get to have these conversations, baby.
It's different if we trade up for Willis and he starts.
Right.
We don't trade up for Willis. We trade all of our picks for Willis and he's sitting here. No, I'm not.
Bro, what are we doing? Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
But what do you feel about Willis? We've talked about this. You feel like he should sit? Because a lot of people are still saying, oh, he's raw, he's got to develop. I just think we can win with him with his legs at least, year one.
I think he should sit. I do. Winning with your legs, it sounds good until you're out there and you realize these NFL players run fast too and hit very hard as well. And he hasn't experienced that over 17 games from grown men. That's all. I mean, it sounds good in theory, and I can see him surviving early on with that. But it's going to be hard for him early on because he isn't that developed as a passer just yet. The same way we talked about Lamar Jackson. Think about that. We talk about Lamar Jackson, we say, what, man? An elite athlete, and this year he's finally started to take steps in terms of being a better passer. Not having a strong arm, but being an accurate passer, a more consistent passer. Malik has to develop to even get to where Lamar is. And think about what Lamar, how we view him at times, how he struggles at times, how teams can play him at times. And then this year really started to shift for him. Malik is not able to do that in year one. So I do think it would be a lot harder for him to just come in this league and be able to survive solely on his legs. Because we got guys that we can point to where it's like, man, they weren't able to just do that right away.
And I
think Lamar was a more polished prospect than Malik Willis when they came out also.
I was going to say, am I wrong in saying I think Malik Willis is a better passer than Lamar, though? Better arm talent.
Wrong. I think you're wrong. Personally, I do. But we're going to find out when he gets to the NFL level. A strong arm doesn't mean a better arm. And that's my thing. I want to see it at NFL level. He was playing at Liberty. He wasn't playing at Alabama. He wasn't playing at USC. I want to see versus NFL caliber guys, can you consistently throw guys open? Can you consistently put that ball in tight windows? We've started to see Lamar do that at a way more consistent clip. And I personally think that Lamar is a way more electric runner than Malik Willis. That's the other part that we don't talk about. So with that, I'm just I don't necessarily see Malik coming in and just, he can survive and thrive off of his legs early on and then develop the passing, because that's just typically not how it works. We've seen great athletes at quarterback before, but when those guys can't throw the ball, it really doesn't matter. It's just, all right, we playing backyard football. He's going to try to run and scramble. Okay, let's get with him then. Make him throw into tight spaces. Sit back, eyes on him. He's going to mess up. Zone him to death. Zone him to death because he can't run on that. Now he's going to have to beat us with his arm. And for Lamar, it took him having to learn that. And then Lamar started being able to do that. And then it was like, okay, what coverage are you going to play against this guy? Right now, Malik isn't on that level to me just yet. And that's why I want to sit him so he can develop it and get that, because I do think he is capable of developing into that. But to ask him to do that year one, I just don't think it's realistic for him.
Okay. I do think he would be at least a better passer than Lamar rookie year. Rookie year Lamar. Because they schemed everything. I don't think if we started Malik Willis or Malik Willis starts somewhere rookie year, they're going to have all the design runs that they did for Lamar Jackson.
But you have to remember,
but Malik Willis would be able to improvise at least.
No. Lamar took over mid-season. Remember that. He didn't get that fresh start that first year. It was mid-season. It was Joe Flacco's team initially. And that's the other part where I'm when he came in, they schemed it like that, but it was more so on the fly. Then you look at how they changed the offense and built it around him those following years. And that's another thing. Do we think Matt Canada is building an offense like that around Malik Willis? We don't know if Matt Canada is capable of that, but if we're going to go 30-10 for Mason, then you know what? I will give Matt Canada that same benefit of the doubt then, I guess, right? Of course he'll be able to go in there and be a Greg Roman type coordinator for Malik Willis. Like I said, I'm skeptical of it, but if that's where we're going to go, then I can hear it.
All right. So is that it for Wentz to Washington?
Yeah, that's it with that. Let's knock out these supers, and after that, we'll get to this final topic. And then I will prepare myself for morning meditation. Namaste. 5 senses. So let's get it.
Sean, 0989. Do we not think Haskins would beat out Mason? I think he could.
Not if Mason's 30-10. If Mason's capable of 30 touchdowns, 10 picks, I don't see Haskins beating him out this year. Or what do you feel like is Haskins capable of 30 and 10 as well? I'm just asking. I'm trying to just see the gauge on this thing, man.
That's the interesting thing with Haskins.
Yeah.
I mean, if he beats out Mason, I don't see why not. I mean, here's the problem with Haskins. We haven't, like, at least with Mason, we've seen a couple positive games, like that 300-yard game, 3 touchdowns against the Browns. Have we like seen that from Haskins? From what I remember, a lot of his like bigger stat games were garbage time.
Well, I will say this.
Listen, if he has a hell of a preseason training camp and beats out Mason, then I mean that I would have to stay consistent with that. Then
Haskins,
I would have to say he's capable of that.
I mean, I think of Washington's situation. That wasn't. We're not gonna act like their team was putting out a team like how Pittsburgh was putting out when we saw Mason do what he did versus Cleveland, especially. That's not. I don't think that's the same situation there. But in terms of talent, we know what Haskins was coming out of college compared to what Mason was coming out of college. We know that both of those guys have starting experience. I think both of them are on even soil to an extent. So if one guy has more talent in terms of Dwayne Haskins, if one guy is a higher pedigree guy in terms of Dwayne Haskins, I just don't see why I would look at him negatively or think less about his ability and think so highly of Mason and his ability. I just don't think that those two things work for me.
Especially
like
if he beats him out. Yeah.
No, not even beating him out. Because to me, if a guy's capable of 30 and 10, you're not beating that guy out. That's how I look at it. No different than why we didn't start any of those guys over 7 last year. Because we talked about, is 7 a 30 and 10 guy? Is 7 a 25 and 7 guy? And that was like, man, those guys aren't capable of doing that this year, so why put them out there over him? If those guys are capable of that, what are we talking about here? That's all I'm trying to figure out. Like, you don't play that game. That's like, man, Alex Highsmith, is he capable of double-digit sacks? Absolutely. But no. Let's sit him on the bench. Let's put, Taco Charlton out there instead. It's like, why would we do that? If this guy, if we believe he's capable of that, we can already see the foundation of that as well. You don't keep those guys off the field. You put them on the field. So that's why I just have that disconnect when we're talking about, Mason or even Haskins being capable of those type of numbers right now. It's just, I don't comprehend it to the same way that maybe you do. And that's fine.
Steeler Nation on fire again, back at it. I was saying, what if no teams draft a quarterback this year?
I see what you're saying now.
And someone falls to us? Is that what he's saying?
Maybe that's what he's saying, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then we just you have your pick of the litter, right? Between Kenny Pickett and Malik and any of the other quarterbacks. But I just don't see that happening, honestly, man.
All right, we got Jalen Johnson. Watson is great, but I fear that Canada might not let us get the full potential out of Deshaun. I have doubts about Canada still.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I have my doubts about him as well, but we're also going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to get an opportunity to show, was it a Ben thing or was it a him thing? And that's what we're going to get to see this season, man, regardless of who's at quarterback.
Let's go, UW. Well, guys, the best comedy show is back. PNC Park. # sell the team. I guess MLB is back officially.
Yeah. They finally came to an agreement, and they were all hyped. I'm like, don't nobody care about this, bro.
But I'm going to be out in Chicago late April, I think, for like a long weekend, like bachelor party. I think the Bucks are playing at Wrigley. That was the original schedule, I hope they stick with it. They only like cut off the first couple weeks and then keep the schedule because Wrigley with the Bucks. Can you beat that? Yeah,
that'd be dope, man. Wrigley's beautiful as well, man. But no, I ain't even gonna lie, man. I'm definitely gonna take my little mans to the Bucks game. Once I get back in town because that's what you do. But y'all already know my expectations when we go to that game. Hey, son, the way baseball works is the lower score wins. All right, you don't want to score a lot to win in this game. Yeah. Well, that's not going to work for too much longer since he's starting coach pitch this year, actually, man.
He's a big Bucks guy, too.
Yeah, he is, man. He is. That's his squad, man. He wears it with pride. All right, so you ready to get to this final topic today, man, before we get up out of here? This is about 7:44. Anywho, I wasn't going to keep having these shows and not talk about some Buffalo Bills. Because Deke sent this guy to me, actually. Deke texted me like in the middle of the night, was like, bro, You know the Buffalo Bills just got
the inside
they
scoop,
just
man?
Released Jon Feliciano, man. Come on, bro. Tell me everything I need to know about him. And I was like, yo, Deke. It's like, Deke, man. You gotta relax, man. You gotta relax, man. You know, it's a Buffalo guy. No, man. I love this dude, man. I watch the Bills all the time, and I know what he can do. He plays left guard predominantly, but he can bump over to the right. You got position flexibility, a veteran, all this other stuff. Deke was going off. Face got red. You would have thought that Love and Madden was on the phone with him the way that he was blushing. It was crazy. But with Jon Feliciano, man, I do like him a lot. I think that he's a guy that could 100% help us. Proven guy, left guard. That's where he played predominantly up in Buffalo. But at the same time, bumped over to the right guard spot as well. Biggest reason why he's getting released is the money part of it. They save, I think it's $3.3 million in a cap space, and Buffalo is trying to move some other pieces. Cole Beasley is potentially another one of those guys. They're trying to, make some moves on to just continue to get them more money and things like that. So I do like Jon Feliciano a lot. I think that, he helps you in terms of, first off, getting legit size in there as well, right? Because I know we flirted with, would you put Kendrick Green at guard? Kendrick Green would be a small guard. I think it would be the second smallest guard that would start in the NFL right now. I don't like that, whereas Jon is going to give you prototypical size. Jon is going to give you a big body in terms of being able to move people in the run game. He pulls as well. And he, like I said, he's not an all-world guard, but he is a quality NFL caliber starting guard. And when I think of us building up our roster, regardless of what we do at quarterback, he is a guy that you consider. I also think of, before we actually go to anyone else I would think of, just, what are your thoughts on Jon, man? Would you like to have him here on the squad, man?
I don't know too much about him. Here's my question then, if I would want him or not. Better than Trey Turner?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
sure, we can take him. And you think the
Yes.
contract would be similar then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would. Yes, indeed. But like I said, I like the fact that he has the position flexibility as well. He could go left guard or right guard. So we know
what he
Kevin,
could go
that's-
left, and we
that's
get
what I'm
Dotson
saying.
back to his main spot, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Jon is a natural left, but he can play right with no problem. And that's the thing for me, where it's like when you got that type of flexibility, it just gives you more options. It gives you more ways to handle, building the roster up or making some potential moves with the roster. So that's the thing that I do like a lot about Jon in that avenue. And like I said, man, he's a veteran. He's a guy that's been in the league. He's been in big games. Playing in Buffalo, man, he's been in some big moments. And he's played with the all-world quarterback in Josh Allen as well, man. So with that, man, like I said, it makes a lot of sense to me to bring in a guy like him if, he's willing to come over here. And I don't see why he necessarily wouldn't want to. But, I definitely like him, though. I do.
And we're looking for a line help. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just a guy. And as long as you say he's better than Turner, then sure.
Absolutely.
100%.
But shoot, even if he was, think about this, even if he was just as good as Turner, what are we doing here? Are we drafting another guard? Are we gonna move Kendrick Green to that left guard spot or right guard spot? Like, what's the play right there? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because we said Trey Turner was still probably one of our best linemen last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fell off a little bit at the end.
Still one of our best linemen last year.
No, he was. And that's what I'm saying.
It's that simple.
That's my point.
But we can't have this optimism about these other players on that O-line that were definitely worse than Trey Turner and act like, man, if he's not better than Trey, we shouldn't consider him. That's all I'm saying.
Right now, Dotson's the one I'd be most optimistic about for sure. Mm-hmm. Dan Moore, just for the 4th round pick, rookie last year. Could he make that first to second year jump? But yeah, I mean, Trey Turner, I think in terms of optimism, like if we brought Trey Turner back, I would expect him, as the line sits right now, to probably be the second best offensive lineman after Dotson. And that's with Dotson making a jump. I mean, he was banged up a little bit last year and everything. But that's just expecting
don't you start making all them excuses again. Come on now. Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
Dotson, man. Come on.
He was a little this, he was a little that, he was a little this, he was a little that. Come on now. He was a little bit in the doghouse apparently as well with the coaches.
Maybe you bring back Feliciano and Turner as competition for Dotson, right?
I'm fine with that as well.
I thought you didn't want comfortable.
You didn't want Dotson competition. That was the difference.
I don't want that.
Yeah,
I don't want that. But I see how the rumors are flying around in the media with Dotson and how I guess maybe the Steelers or someone's plugging that out there, especially with DK last year trying to motivate Dotson. I see how that works. I see how people are trying to do that with Dotson. Absolutely. I'm not the biggest fan, but if that's what they think will motivate them, I could see them maybe bringing in a couple guards.
All right, and last name we'll bring up, right? Because I do, like I said, I do got to get ready to roll out of this thing, man. But the last name, the last name I wanted to bring up though is what about Roger Saffold? He's another guy that has just been released and he's available. All pro, no, not all pro. He was a Pro Bowl guard for the Tennessee Titans as well. What are your thoughts on him? Because I think that he's a good player, proven player. He's going to cost more though than a Jon Feliciano, but he is a better player than Jon Feliciano as well.
I think we got to look up to see what Titans people think about him too. But initially, yeah, it's kind of the same thing with Feliciano. You bring in a guy for the offensive line, proven, hopefully cheap because of his age at 33. Yeah. I'm just wondering, are the Titans people viewing this as like us letting go of like Al last year?
Okay.
Because of the big name. Other teams are excited, but they're actually kind of like, yeah, it was time to move on. That's what I wonder. That's all with him. See. I mean, we could probably look it up because it might just be
or
he
what
was
if
too
it's
much
like
cap
Steven Nelson? What if it was like Steven Nelson? How
that's what I mean.
Talk bad about Steven Nelson?
It could be one or the other.
Nah, yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
It
depends on who you ask,
and remember even with the Chiefs,
I view Steven Nelson highly.
Yeah, but when we got Steven Nelson from the Chiefs, what were Chiefs fans saying? Think about that. Okay, so that's my only thing of like I don't put a lot of stock in that part. I would much rather just watch tape of him because plenty of people said that, man, this is a terrible option for us to pay Steven Nelson what we paid him. A ton of Chiefs fans and media. So, oh, man, he's a bad player, but you don't want that guy, man. You overpaid for him. And we saw what he did here. And then we saw when he left here how he still was playing at a high level, even though we tried to bash him. Not all of us, but a certain amount of fans did try to bash him on the way out as well. That's my only thing. That's my only reasoning behind why I don't put as much stock in that part of it. And you guys think,
so you like him then too?
And Al still went over there and started, 16 games? Just think of 17 games. Think about that, man. It's crazy.
Wasn't pretty, but yeah.
Yeah, but you got a 17-game start out of it. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah. What do you think about Saffold then? You want him?
Oh, like I said, it depends on what we do at quarterback. If we're spending to get a Deshaun Watson, then
we can't even afford him. No point.
Right, then give me Feliciano. But if we're not going to spend on a Deshaun Watson, then give me a Roger Saffold because I just think that you're going to get better productivity, a more proven commodity out of him. But it really depends on what we want to do with this quarterback situation. You can't pay a Roger Saffold if you're going to get, like I said, a high-end quarterback. But if we're going to roll with, even a Jameis to an extent, like it can't be the Jimmy G. It can't be a Mitch Trubisky if he's trying to get 20-something million. Like it can't be that and we get Roger Saffold. It's one or the other. So that's kind of how I look at it. So if we're going Jameis or under him in terms of like pay grade and productivity, then man, you go ahead and you get Roger Saffold and you roll with that. But any other of these higher end guys, give me Jon Feliciano. I think that he is a more cost efficient player and he's good enough and he's already played on winning teams. So he knows what it's going to take to help you win in the postseason as well.
Trubisky up to 20 now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to pay Trubisky none of that money. Like, you tripping.
His stock is skyrocketing.
Yeah, I'm like, why y'all keep... And that's the part. I'm like, y'all just keep talking about it. And then it just goes higher. I'm like, why? Like, I'm good on that, man. That he don't move my needle like that, baby.
Yeah. Well, is that it? I think we're good.
I believe so, man. This was a fun show like it always is, man. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody that was with us on this journey today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, man. We always appreciate y'all showing us love and support, man. From the heart means a lot to us. Y'all stay safe this weekend. And always, until next time, peace.